This lesson will demonstrate how you can add a class and remove a class from an element. We're going to first create a class, so setting up a border for this class, making it a red border, and we'll update also the color of the inner element text to be red as well. I'm also going to do a quick update to this value so that we have bark instead of dog. And I'm going to also update this one here so that everything is consistent with the names here that we're using in the MP3s. Next, let's set up and update adding our style. So create a style where we can do add style, lower animal. So we're sending over the different styles that we want to add and which elements we want to add that style to. Now using the function add style, we need to get the name of the element that we want to add the style to. And this is going to match with the element with the class of the name that we want to add the style to. Let's use query selector to select an active element. So active element, and we're going to use document query selector. And this is one of the nice things about query selector is we can make this fully dynamic. So we know that classes need to have the dot in front of it, and all we need is a string value for the name. So we can do it within this type of format. And as you can see, we are still passing over the name. So if I console log out the value of name, you're going to see that this is going to be the name of the element, inner HTML of the element that was clicked. And right now, for now, I'm going to comment out the making of the sound. So we see that we get lion, cougar, bark, and so on. So that's coming in from add style. And that also means that we can select that active, and we're going to output that into the console now. So whatever that element is, and this is dependent on having the class with the same content as the inner text as well. So you can see when you click it, we're selecting the right element that's been clicked. So that gives us the ability to update that particular object because now we've got it in a variable called active class. So that's where our object is sitting, and we can do something with this active element where we can get the class list and we can add to the class list, and what we want to add is active to that class list. So let's try that out. So now when I click it, you see they go red. Next thing that we want to do is we actually don't want them to stay red. We want them to actually turn back to its original color. And this is where we can use another JavaScript method called set timeout. And what this does is this executes a snippet of code after a specified delay. And this delay is specified within milliseconds. So using function, we can get that active element object, and using class list, and just as we added a class, we can now remove a class, and the class that we want to remove is active. So what's going to happen here is that we're going to run this block of code, and we need to specify in what time period we're going to run that block of code. So we can do it within 200 milliseconds. So now let's try that out. So we see that we can click it, it goes red, and then it turns back to its original color. And when you inspect the element, so going into our HTML, I'll make this a little bit bigger so we can better see it. So watch when I click the element, you see it gets that active class added, and that's only for 200 milliseconds, so it's a fifth of a second there, so it's rather quick, but you see that those elements are getting added in, and that class is being added in, updating those elements. So go ahead and try this one out for yourself, where you're adding classes, and also try out that set timeout method in JavaScript. So try both of these new methods out, adding classes, removing classes, and then setting a timeout.